Now these are some of the images I took many, many years ago, 40 years ago almost. Close-ups of the Grassy Knoll area where the president was shot. Now some people can claim these are just lights and shadows, but some people claim a lot of
Kennedy
things.
was first wounded.
All I can tell you is these are just pure magnification.
Photo analyst Bobby Hunt.
It is a black shape, apparently the head and shoulders of a man. In the region of the, what we'd call the face, there was some pink tones, purported to be flesh tones. And there was also an object which looked like a rifle with a flash suppressor or a nozzle on the rifle. But we concluded that this was a human being. That conclusion was derived from the enhancement and from some color
That's their close-up. This is my close-up.
Visible flesh tones of the object. We did not conclude, however, that that was a rifle. We simply said it was consistent with a blur induced by the motion of the photograph.
In a position that was closer than anybody else, just from by happenstance, that allowed me to look for some period of time at the president's head wound.
This was a suspicious image as I was focusing on near the back of the wall.
Perry, who was enlarging the wound in the neck to do the tracheostomy, told me that the small wound in the neck looked like an entrance wound. The head wound that I saw was a very large wound in the right posterior part of the head.
Well, where did you think the shots had come from? What did you think?
But I think, even then, that I would have thought that this was certainly an exit wound in the back of the head, and that therefore the shot must have come from the front.
I viewed the autopsy pictures. They had the frontal part of the cerebrum here in the skull.
Another one of my close-ups I found many years ago.
I think they pulled the skin back up over this wound.
That's the only thing I can postulate, because the back of his head was gone. This was
They claim there was a big hole in the top of the head.
9 to 10 centimeters across.
When we zoom in on the Mormon photo, we see something different here. Right where the Dallas doctors described it.
The large hole is at the front of the head. See something else. This is just almost a personal a question. Are you
so what we're dealing with here is just pure forgery of the autopsy.
At President Kennedy somewhere from the front?
Yes.
Are you equally comfortable, or are you not comfortable with the notion that there is forgery of some sort in the official documents of this?
I feel there probably is. I certainly could not be held down to saying exactly how that is, or even approximately how it is, perhaps. But I feel
what they always have claimed, this looks like an exit wound.
Some kind of attempt to cover up what was going on.
Let me show you, to my best recollection, what the wound looked like to me that day in trauma room 1.
Before each doctor looked at the photos, he described the wounds he had seen back in 1963.
I could see the president's head wound quite well, and I was probably looking into a wound that was on the lateral or the side part of the head and the back part of the head.
It would be this portion of the head right here.
As I remember,
they've managed to move that wound all over the head.
Wound, big deficit in his skull and the temporal parietal area.
Right.
He died of a gunshot wound.
in the brain of a bullet right through the head.
John Kennedy was obviously shot from the front. Everybody knows it. Virtually everybody in Dealey Plaza rushed to the Grassy Knoll, where they heard the sounds.
It came from a fence between the book depository and the railroad track.
From behind the overpass over there, triple overpass.
Right over about 20 or 30 feet from the other end of that little picket fence.
And it sounded like it came from the left and in front of us, towards the wooden fence. And there was a puff of smoke that came underneath the trees.
We all four seen about the same thing as the shots. The smoke came from behind the hedge.
And then as the car got directly in front of us, well, a gunshot apparently from behind us hit the president's side of the temple.
Do you think the first gunshot came from behind you, too?
I think it came from the same location. Apparently back up on the
it's interesting to note that almost every witness in Dallas described that wound in the back of the head. It looks like an exit wound.
One of these shots.
This blob right here that doesn't appear to be like much, just well, anyhow, I was taking a lot closer look here. Let's see if you see what I saw. Beginning to see a face here. What really caught my eye was this upside down stripe here. I couldn't figure out what that could have been. So I was looking a little closer. So that's a little closer up of that image right here. As you can see, this is on the, this is picked up on television as they zoomed in on the Mormon photo. This was in a book, double page enlargement. So you get the gist of it. I was looking there, and let's take a So it was after I found that I decided to look closer at the president extracted from that. And when I discovered those images in the back on the head. How about a colorized version? One face there, one face here. So you can imagine my surprise when I seen this image, and then I went to look at the president, and it all seemed to add up. Well, I gotta do it this way. I got all kinds of images here. Yes, there it is. Here's an independent close-up somebody did. I don't even know who it was, but this was a digitally enhanced version of the Mormon photo. They never even noticed this. I made a enlargement and I put it up here in the front. They were looking. So yeah, they were zooming in over here on this image right here. Back along here. It could possibly be a treat, but they never even noticed this. I know it's hard to see. I didn't see it for several minutes. And once I started putting the pieces together, once the brain starts putting the pieces together, like I say, all I was looking at was this upside down V. Let's see, there should be something. that upside down V. And then I noticed there were a few others. There was this, what appears to be a circle here, just above that. And then I started putting the pieces together. You start seeing the faces. Once you start seeing the faces, understand this is the left arm. That's the History Channel, that's the close-up. Again. I'm losing my... Where's the color? There's the colorized. So there's definitely something very unusual there, to say the least. And when you put it all together, I can find that one again. Well, anyways, here's an even more extreme close-up. Let me see if I move that in a little. Now, this is very curious that at that distance, I mean, it's picking up this, and it does look like some writing much similar to this. That's a very long distance. But anyways, I can't get this to work. So anyhow, it's very curious that, if I can find that one. It's very curious that you'd have two images like that found in this one photograph. And not only that, but an image like that also. Now, anyone who thinks
image over here
lights
on the
and
right
shadows,
was found by
there's
Jack
always
White
a
and Gary
possibility
Mack
of lights and shadows, but those are the
about the
damnedest
same time
lights
I
and
found
shadows
this
I've ever
image,
seen.
but they got...
And as far as I'm concerned, this makes more sense than
It
anything.
showed up on the Men Who Killed Kennedy, and I thought it was going to be this one. And nobody ever knew. I had this image when they released this. So not just one, but two. Very curious.